The Missouri National Guard one-on-one. Missouri National Guard, always ready, always there. All right, Missouri 7-0, rolling right along, and now ranked 5th in the BCS standings as they get ready to take on South Carolina this week for homecoming. And Coach, another big win over Florida as you've gotten to look at some of the film and digest that victory. What are some of the nice things you saw your team do in that win over the Gators?
Well, I thought it was a complete game. I mean, I think certainly we can get better as a team, but I think offensively, I think we moved the ball, fairly well against a great defensive football team and had balance there and really answered when we had to answer. Defensively, obviously, holding them to 150 yards was exceptional, and I thought, really we were very physical. Turnovers again were significant and in our favor, and the field position that we gained from it. Probably the only disappointing thing for me, with understanding there's always work to do to get better on both sides of the ball, is a kicking game where we drop a punt and we hold them to a field goal. They get 3 points, and then kickoff return for touchdown for 7. So 10 of those points are from kicking game, and those in really close games, that can be significant. So a lot of good things, and certainly a lot of things to do to get better.
At the same time, when talking about kicking game, 5 field goals for Andrew Baggett, and how clutch was he for you in a game where 3 points for a while there was a huge deal?
Well, I had to make that kind of decision, and it was great. It's great that he was consistent, did a heck of a job. The hold and the snap and protection, all those things, it worked out well, and that's how important that position is, because you get a 2 or 3 field goals, they start adding up. And they start having significance in terms of whether it's a 2-score game, 3-score game, and so on. So, when you come away with points, it makes us a much better football team.
And the league continues to recognize your guys. I mean, you said after the game on Saturday, couldn't think of a more difficult situation. You put a redshirt freshman quarterback in for his first start than Mauk, and we all saw the game he had, and he was recognized by the SEC today. And just to talk about the game he had and what you hope to keep seeing from him this week.
Well, I think, first of all, I think Matty would tell you the first thing is that number one is that, he had the offensive line did a heck of a job for him. And the running backs did a heck of a job, and the receivers and tight ends. And so, what our quarterback does in our offense, he distributes the football. And he'd be the first one to tell you that they certainly helped him as the field general, out there. But I just thought, honestly, after the game, he came off, and, I knew he had a heck of a game, and gave him a hug and said, congratulations, you did a great job. And he gave me a smile, said, thanks, Coach. And I said, when I looked at him, I said, but it doesn't surprise me. Because that's how he played in high school. That's how he plays. A great competitor. The good news is he can get a lot better. There's a lot of little things he could do quarterbacking-wise to make himself a better player. But certainly for a first start in that kind of environment, I think anyone would say it was really an outstanding performance.
And no surprise from your defensive line again, and Michael Sam receives another SEC honor, and he's just part of a defensive line that is just really flying around the football and creating a lot of things right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go through all the eight names of the guys that are playing. I think there's 9 at times, different players that we have in there. And that keeps guys fresh, but Michael's having a great year, and his play, I think, is also is a great example to everybody that plays on defense. He's not only a great athlete, but he is really playing remarkably competitive. I mean, he is 100% all the time. So, really happy for him and having another award. But like you said, it's that up front on both sides of the football. When you're playing well in that situation, both sides of the football and the line of scrimmage, you have a chance to be a good team.
And I also wanted to ask you about Ariana Penton, because you talk about you had 2 captains out, and they were each replaced by freshmen, one a redshirt Maddie, another true freshman in Ariane. And I think a lot of people would have said, hey, Florida, are you going to try to pick on that true freshman corner? But Ariane would not be picked on. He had 2 tackles for loss and a pick.
Yeah, that's interesting. We had arguably two of our best players on our team, offensively and defensively, out. And we had 2 freshmen, one's a redshirt freshman and true freshman replacing him. But Arian did a really good job. John Gibson also was a redshirt freshman, also traded in there with him a little bit. But it's nice to see some young players respond. And honestly, you're going to have that. I mean, if you're going to have injuries, you're going to have some young players step it up. And really pleased that they gave it a great effort.
And finally, with homecoming and South Carolina coming in this week, and You know, you see all these accolades coming in now, whether it be the BCS ranking or some of these awards. What's kind of your message to the guys this week to keep them on that right track as they welcome the Gamecocks?
Well, I think, you know, I think it's game number 8 for us, and that means we just get back to the grind, get back to the work, the things we have to do. If you're focusing or getting caught up in all that stuff, you're never going to play your best game, and that's kind of what do you want to be? You know, do you want to? How far do you want this thing to go? Do you want to be a great football team, or what do you want to be? And so we're just going to focus on what we've been doing, and it's us up to myself, the coaching staff, the seniors, to make sure the whole team is doing the things daily it's necessary, because we're playing well. It doesn't mean you're going to win all your games, but you're playing well and competitively, and you got to do the things, the process that allow you to do that. And so hopefully we can get that done.
Homecoming this week, we expect another sellout crowd. Just kind of tell us what that does, maybe even to the other team. When you've got a crowd and that zoo was cranked up really to another level on Saturday, but you expect to see that again. And when that crowd noise gets going, what does that do to the other team?
Well, I mean, it's last week, bingo. You know, it's there, it's got it. I mean, you match that, and you know, it's our fans get it. You know, we got to put a good product out there, a team that's competitive and wins and fights and battles. Our fans get it, our students get it. You know, it's a great place to play, man. It's nice to see that kind of enthusiasm, and obviously, anybody that comes in there, it makes it very difficult for.
Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck against South Carolina.
Yeah, thanks.
Head coach Gary Pinkel, Mizzou, South Carolina, this Saturday, 6 p.m. here in Columbia.